Hey, this is the Entertainment Advice Channel. What I want to talk about today is the topic of the top 5 reasons why pop music sucks now. So, for this video, I'm going to go into detail the top 5 reasons why pop music is not as good as it used to be in a simple and straightforward way so even those unfamiliar with this topic can understand. So, if you're interested in finding out why pop music sucks, then watch this video in order to find out. So, now I mentioned that, let's get started. So when it comes to why pop music sucks nowadays, the first of the top 5 reasons, first and foremost, which might come as a surprise to everybody, since everyone complains about the same thing, is that the beats themselves do not sound as good as they used to. I don't know if it's because they're using simpler chords, because I know nowadays the biggest trend is to use um 2 note chords to make songs instead of trying to use 4 note chords, which was popular not too long ago, like in early 2010s, even up to that point. But apparently 2 note chords actually is a new rage now, which as a result, when you listen to the beats themselves, it sounds out of tune. In other words, it doesn't sound as good as music from like the early 2010s, which even though the music from the early 2010s, I know everyone hated it at the time and said the music sucked and stuff, that's obviously up to you what your personal preference is, on what you think about music from the early 2010s. But the thing about the music from the early 2010s is that at least when you listen to the beat, you can at least tell whether it's your cup of tea or not, that it sounded professional, like someone who's a real master at their craft sounded, or I should say made it, if anything. But when you listen to beats now, it sounds very simple. It sounds very amateurish. It sounds like something that like a 10, 12 year old or like a young teenager made or something in FL Studio or something. To sum it up, it doesn't sound as professional, and to be more specific with what I mean by it doesn't sound as professional is that it sounds very um off tune. Like the instruments don't sound like they go and sync perfectly together like music of the past. Like sometimes it feels like one instrument's going too fast compared to another instrument, which makes it sound out of tune and it doesn't sound as good as a result as beats from previous eras, whether 2010s, 2000s, 1990s, all the way going back. So that's my biggest problem with one of my biggest problems, more like, with modern beats. And if anything actually is the biggest problem, is that the beats just don't sound as good. They suck, and a lot of times they don't even have much of a melody. They even just use straight up drums. To sum it up, whether it could be down to not enough melody, too much drum usage, or it could be just down to it's just, well, out of tune. To sum it up, the beats are not as well as produced as they used to be. Okay, so that's my first reason why pop music sucks now. Okay, the second reason, which might surprise a lot of people and is probably going to piss off a lot of people, who watch my videos, is that there's too much diversity. Okay, now this one's going to be a hot take, but I'm just gonna keep it real, okay? There's too much diversity on the radio, okay? When you listen to music on the radio, when it comes to pop music, you can hear everything from reggaeton, Afrobeat, at least when it was popular a few years ago. But you get the point. Like, there's a lot of diversity, whether reggaeton, Afrobeat, of course, as well, K-pop, um, and another thing, of course, as well, country. Oh, God forbid, I hate that genre. But anyway, aside from my personal preferences when it comes to music, the point of the matter is that there's just too much diversity when it comes to different genres that they use for pop music, okay? Because the truth of the matter is anytime you hear something on the radio, it's still technically pop, mainly as a whole, okay? But at the same time, in the past it was more pop rap, pop EDM, pop rock, pretty much those 3 categories. And as a result, it gave it its own distinct sound, okay? It gave it that very uppity, very high, um, upbeat sound that defined pop music. Like when you listen to 2010s, early 2010s to be more specific, pop music, you go like, this is pop music. This is real pop music, which I never thought like anyone would ever have to say, oh God, I miss the days when pop music actually sounded like pop music. But nowadays, when you listen to pop music, it doesn't sound as much as like pop music used to, And I don't get me wrong, like I know there's a story behind it because I know in the past it didn't give many people of different cultures and stuff, recognition and stuff. There's a controversy about it, and of course, everyone wants to be big. People from other nations, yada yada. I get the point, but at the same time, you also have to realize though that there's not really a necessarily a need to rap people music of other genres. Like you can simply, well, no shit, have music that has a straight up pop sound, and and it still incorporates sounds from other cultures, just like "Don't Funk My Heart" by Black Eyed Peas. Another one could obviously be "Pump It" by the Black Eyed Peas, that you can clearly tell is Latino sounds. Those two songs I mentioned. To Nico and that song "Am I Wrong" by Nico and Vince, I think is what it's called, where you can obviously tell they used African instruments, and obviously the whole time period when Indian sounding music was popular. Like you can clearly tell the sound of music in like the 2000s with the high amount of Indian influence. Like what I'm trying to say is that you can incorporate the sound of other cultures and of course be respectful of them, no shit, and still make it sound like pop music. Because when I listen to pop music, I want to actually listen to something that sounds like pop music. I don't want to listen to country or this and that or other stuff. If it's gonna sound like that, then I might as well just put it to a country music station. You know, like if you're at least if you like country or if you like something that sounds maybe like Afrobeat or some bullshit shit, whatever, like you can obviously turn it to a station that obviously plays Afrobeat or anything like that. So that's what I'm trying to get across here. So that's my second point. Now, so to sum it up, when it comes to my second point, because I'm just going to finish this up, is that when it comes to my second reason why pop music is not as good, is that it doesn't sound like pop. Pop has its own unique charm, and it doesn't have that anymore. So that's my second reason why I'm not the biggest fan of pop music now. It doesn't sound as authentically pop music as it should, because every music genre has its own unique charm, and pop music doesn't sound like pop if the past used to. So that's my problem with it. It's not as distinctively pop as it used to be. Okay? Now, the third reason why I'm not a big fan of pop music nowadays is that it's too depressing. Now, when you listen to music by people like Olivia Rodrigo, um, which obviously we can obviously tell the influence of Lord music. Oh my gosh, I hate that song Royals. Not because it's a bad song, but because of the negative influence it's had on music. Music nowadays is just too depressing. When you actually listen to the lyrics, the music is more depressing than it's ever been. And of course, I know people, the smart asses, are gonna be like, well, music actually was always depressing. Outkast's song "Hey Ya" was actually a very depressing song. Yes, I know most music in the past was depressing when you actually listen to the lyrics, but at least the beat sounded upbeat. So at least it was happy sounding, okay? But now the beats themselves sound too depressing. So it's not as enjoyable as it used to be because when I listen to music, I want to be in a good mood. I don't want to listen to something that's going to make me feel very sad and depressed, okay? So that's my third reason why the pop music sucks now. It just sounds too depressing. Now, the fourth reason, this one should definitely not surprise anyone, why pop music sucks now is simply down to the fact is that it all sounds the same. When you listen to pop music nowadays, they all of the songs usually tend to sound exactly the same all the time. When you listen to pop music now, they all sound the same. There's no variety. You listen to 10 songs, you listen to all of them when it comes to that, the way the beats sound. So there's no variety. It's very repetitive. There's a bunch of the same beats that have been used over and over again. So that's the fourth reason why pop music sucks now. It's just repetitive. Okay, there's not enough variety because the beats all sound the same, and that's the truth. Now to the down to the last one, even worse than before. When it comes to a reason why music's well not as bad as the last one, but definitely a big contribution to why music sucks now. The fifth reason is simply down to the fact that, which should surprise no one, just like the fourth point, is that the beats tend to all, or I should say, more in this case, the lyrics suck. They all even compared to pop standards, which pop doesn't tend to have a good reputation for good lyrics. They all tend to suck. The stories are very boring and repetitive. There's not a variety of topics, and that annoying sound, that whisper type voice that they use in music now, makes the music suck even more. So those are the top 5 reasons why I'm not a fan of pop music nowadays. Hopefully things can change so pop music can be as great as it was back in like the 1980s, 1990s, 2000s. Um, so we can have good music again. But for now, pop music's not that good, even compared to the early 2010s. It's shit now. And those are the top 5 reasons why I believe it sucks. Hopefully, we can help create change so music can sound good again. But until that day comes, pop music sucks right now, okay? And those are the top 5 reasons why it sucks now. So that's all I have to say. So we put them out. So bye.